Well, it's Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Welcome back to another edition of Saturday Pre-Flight, your launch point to the weekend. Thank you for tuning in. As you've seen, we took off last weekend due to the holiday weekend. Happy birthday, America. One programming note before we start. I know some of you were expecting the last part of our three-part storyline concerning about independent programming. That will air next week, as tonight we will be taking a little view at a great director who has passed away. That is the director Richard Donner, who passed away at age 91. Also, we will be discussing tonight one of his films in our off-the-shelf segment. Basically, we'll be discussing one that it's a great classic with Matthew Broderick and Rutger Hauer and Michelle Pfeiffer. It is one of the great fantasy classics of all time. Great film. Then we will be checking in with your comments and your mentions, see how you're feeling this week. And we'll be checking in with Svengoolie as we bring in a William Castle classic to you that I don't think it's ever been shown on TV in a long time. This one is a bit of a mystery. I haven't seen this in quite some time. All that and more, but first, here's the Fast Five. This week on the Fast Five, if you didn't catch the video back on Wednesday, former President Donald Trump has launched a class action lawsuit against big tech, Facebook, Twitter, and Google for censorship and many various other rules that have been violated. You know, Section 230 should not be protecting these companies. I mean, you have the difference between publisher and platform, and these companies are skirting the fine line in between. This channel alone, Saturday Pre-Flight, Madman with the Show, we're shadow banned. We're shadow banned on this channel. I mean, you see the programming we show here. For those of you, my subscribers that continue to watch, you know, this is not harmful speech. It's basically standard, talk, which basically we talk about movies and stuff like that. And once in a while, we have to throw a little news story here and there. Nothing that is that would hurt anybody. But this is the thought processes over at the radical big tech giants out there. And it's about time that they get put down and new companies come forward, that will give them competition. That's the problem. There's no competition at all to these companies. Continuing on with that same story, India removes all liability protection from Twitter, which is not surprisingly what's been going on in India with all the censorship that Twitter has done to all the situations that are going on over there. And we're not surprised at this. I mean, Australia has gone through this. Nigeria has banned Twitter for censoring their own president as well. And that should have been done here as well. But unfortunately, we have to do this step by step. And with the lawsuit that's now been filed by Donald Trump, we'll see what goes on after that. Next, the lies continue on the Netflix Masters of the Universe. Kevin Smith, we've discussed this down the line. He says, no, it's not a Tila show or nothing like that. Now he's been caught again. Basically, he says, we have changed none of the characters. We haven't revisioned any of the characters whatsoever. Meanwhile, we're finding out that not one, not two, but several characters have been changed in the series by race swapping two characters and changing the looks on Tila, which basically, you can't lie to the fans. You can't do that. These TV series have been around a long time, and this is the reason why. I hate reboots. I really hate reboots because in the atmosphere we have in Hollywood right now, reboots will not work. It will not work. The fans will not take it, and they'll say, "Well, it's not for you." Well, who the fuck is it for? who's it really for? This is the things that, these companies don't understand, and they will never understand. And this is why manga and anime will overtake the industries and the independent producers. There are small companies growing, including right here on YouTube, that they're growing strong. And the reason is because people are tired of all the programming it is. Look at the ratings on most of these TV shows. Go to the CW, look at their ratings. Next, well, can we call it or can we call it? More bans of anime in Russia. Let me tell you, we heard of the Death Note and a couple of others that have been banned. Now, the classic Akira, which is one of the greatest animes of all time, anime movies of all time, is now banned in Russia because it says it has harmful content to children. I saw this when I was younger. It didn't harm me. So what harmful content it is? It's a story. It's a story itself. It's possibly maybe because there's a storyline of revolution in between. You may not like that in your country, that it speaks out to people that way. But that's a story. They're afraid of stories. Oh, it's going to hurt children. It's going to hurt this. Is that? Have you seen it? Have you sat down and watched it? No, you probably watched the scene with all the people protesting in there. Yeah, there's a scene where there's a lot of people protesting because of what the government has been doing to people and stuff like that. You're talking about the Tokyo about to be destroyed again by a kid with these powers. In the movie, they were afraid that this kid's going to destroy Tokyo, as Akira almost did in the opening credits of the movie. I love the stories that anime brings out. And there's something for everyone. Do you understand? In anime, there's something for everybody. But, this is the control they want. And, they're not going to get away with it. They eventually, by doing this, you harbor resentment against the government. That's what happens. And that's what's going to start happening here. With these lawsuits that are coming across here in the United States against big tech, this is the beginning. This is just the beginning. It's going to take some time, but hey, we're going to get back to a point where everything is back the way it was. We hope. And finally, Shout Factory TV is putting out a major box set and single individuals of the entire Halloween classic set from the first movie, I think, to the 7th, including Season of the Witch. They put out what the covers will look like. I hope those are not the final covers, because the covers are not looking good. In fact, I would post the cover up here, the covers, but unfortunately I've been hearing they've been copyright striking the covers. I don't know why. It's happened on Facebook. So basically, if you want, go out there, check it out. They're on Twitter. Go on the Shout TV site. You'll be able to see it all on there. So that's the Fast Five for this week. One thing we discuss here, we discuss good movies, and we treat them as pieces of works of art, because that's what they are. They're artistic pieces of interpretation of whoever puts it together, who are producers, directors, actors. There are some great movies in history, we have those who are trying to censor those things. And, even Quentin Tarantino says, Hollywood is becoming an ideology and not art. But this week we lost a great director who created great art. And most of you know him for one of the greatest interpretations of the Superman franchise, the 1978 Superman with starring Christopher Reeve, Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman. That is directed by Richard Donner, who passed away this week at the age of 91. Had such a great life ahead of that he's done. Some of the stuff. Tonight we're gonna just go into a little bit into it. this is a man who basically was able to put together a movie, toss out the original script of Superman, and build it upon what he got, what you know today as this is great classic. And like one of the posters says, "You will believe a man will fly," and that's what he did. He made you believe that basically a man could fly, because that's how that movie. I mean, I saw this on 34th Street when there used to be like a major theater there, and it was amazing. And remember, this is long before the technology THX sounds and a lot of other systems that were created, lenses and stuff like that. I mean, this was one great film. And he's known for many other films like Lethal Weapon, Conspiracy Theory, Maverick, Scrooge, The Goonies, The Toy, The Omen. Most people don't realize he was involved in The Omen. 1976, The Omen movie, which is also a great film. And then the stories in between. That's another part of it. Midnight's Edge has been talking a lot about it this week, and they've thrown out a couple of stories out there as well. I mean, you've heard stuff where the discussion of how they got Marlon Brando to play Superman's father, what they went through with that. How there's a story of him trying to convince Hackman to remove his mustache, because Hackman had a mustache at the time, and he had to play Lex Luthor. He could not have a mustache, And there are other various stories throughout the years of his career. Now, most people have been sitting down and talking about all the great movies that he's had. Like I said, Superman and Lethal Weapon, Lady Hawk, which Lady Hawk we'll be discussing later on off my video shelf. But there's another half of this great director. Is his early days, he did television. Yes, that's right, folks. He did television. He did some great TV shows. Now, most people say, well, yeah, he did, he did Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, he did Tales from the Crypt. A couple of good episodes. But there's a lot of other shows that he's done, and most people don't realize it. I mean, did about 2 episodes of Get Smart. There's also, he did Perry Mason at one point. He did a couple episodes of Perry Mason. Gilligan's Island. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Great. I mean, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I love that. And I love the new version of the movie with Henry Cavill. I mean, if you haven't seen that new version of The Man from U.N.C.L.E., grab it. It is... If any movie that should have a sequel is The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Because it was underrated and fantastically done. And most people don't realize that he worked on The Twilight Zone with Rod Serling, did a couple episodes, and he's well known for, most people don't realize, the William Shatner episode, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. With the gremlin on the wing. That was a good episode. I love that episode. Even though, today you look at the suit and you're like, the newer version Gremlin was even as cheesy, but still it was a little bit more scarier. But if you look back 1963, that was pretty scary having that on the wing of an airplane. You start to look out on there. But there's a lot of other stuff. Steve McQueen's Wanted Dead or Alive. He worked several episodes on that. If you've never seen the Western Wanted Dead or Alive, he also worked on Wagon Train, The Rifleman, and Have Gun Will Travel. Some of the great Western series. He also worked on the Wild Wild West, not the movie, the TV series. If you haven't seen the 1966 TV series Wild Wild West, catch it. It is really, really, really good. Even though he did only like 3 episodes on there, the whole entire series is so fun. I mean, if you enjoyed the Will Smith movie, you'll enjoy the Robert Conrad series. I mean, it is so well done. So much fun. I mean, like I said, you have a little bit of science fiction in there and in a Western. And that's the fun of this. Ironside he's worked on. Cannon, if you've not seen Cannon, the detective series, that is also a very, his entire resume is a who's who of basically what TV series. Telly Savalas Kojak, he did directed 3 episodes of that as well. Kojak, I used to watch Kojak when I was a kid. That was in my era. That was in the mid-70s, 73 to 74. Those were some great. You can get most of the stuff you can get on DVD, or you can watch on metv on there, or other classic nostalgic channels. They're all out there. Streets of San Francisco with Michael Douglas. If you've never seen this is where Michael Douglas got really his start. It was on this cop show, The Streets of San Francisco, on there. But one major thing, and most people haven't realized this one. This is his one of his great contributions to Saturday morning. And we talk about Saturday morning cartoons and series on stuff like that, and how they should be returning back. MTV's brought some of it back. He directed a couple of episodes of a great series that was part of a major series, part of an adventure hour, a series that basically had different animated cartoons and live action. It was a mixture of cartoons and live action on there, and it was part of what they used to call the Banana Splits Adventure Hour. If you had not watched this, no, folks, before you say, well, come on, that horror film. No, that horror film is something that came out of this. Okay, the Banana Splits, yes, it did exist at one point back in the 60s. It ran for quite a bit, and it had some great cartoons in between. They did some music gimmicks, and then they had cartoons in between, different ones on there. But one of them was a live action, and it was a live action series with Jan Michael Vincent. And most people thought it was Jan Michael Vincent. Wait, Jan Michael Vincent was on Saturday morning? Yeah, Jan Michael Vincent was on Saturday morning. It was one called Danger Island, with pirates and adventures and islanders and stuff like that. And it was a great, what was it, Chongo? Oh, Chongo! And it was one character that just literally, he just sat there just screaming the entire. He didn't smoke. He just he was it was like a mad native going crazy, there. And it was a hysterical series, and it was fun because it was a great adventure, and Donner was responsible for that segment of the show, and it ran for what was it? He directed 3 episodes out of the 4 that were on there, and the fun of this, you could catch it out there. Even on YouTube, there is I guess someone smashed them all together as a movie. And let me tell you something. Shooting out on an exotic island. How much fun can you get on that? How much more can you get? It is really, really live action fun for kids. This is what Saturday morning cartoons and live action series was. This is what you got. This is what kids would enjoy. You look at the Goonies. How fun would the movie The Goonies was? If you take that and go back to Danger Island, that's the kind of fun you were getting on Danger Island. The kind of adventure, the fun of it all. People don't realize, what we had in the past. They want to criticize all this stuff and call it racist and homophobia and all this, and realize how really good these series are. How much fun was this for kids? We had a comment line talking about Pepe Le Pew. It's they moved out a character, an iconic character, out of a movie just because people were like, well, you don't like him because of what he does. I said, but it's a joke. It's a gimmick. And the gimmick backfires on the character. Do you understand that? It's like the Roadrunner and the Coyote. Coyote tries to kill him every time, but what happens? Murder ain't good. But, hey, listen. The Coyote gets his 2 cents. Everything backfires on him. That's the gimmick of the cartoon. Every cartoon, every series for kids had a gimmick. Now they just want to throw in, the politics and transphobic and this and that, and you wonder why Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and Disney Channel and Boomerang all have low ratings right now. Nickelodeon's 1 foot in the grave already after the thing that they just pulled. You look into the perspective of what do kids want to see? Cartoons. They want to be fun with them and all that. You can't sneak in, all this politics. They're smarter than that. They want to indoctrinate these children, and that's totally wrong. They're taking away their lives. They're taking away the fun. They've already taken out half the outdoor stuff from them. You can't play this, you can't play that. They want to take away dodgeball. They want to take away this. The sports are going to be next. Sports, they're going to start cramping down on the sports. They want to get rid of the, they already starting to cramp down on the football. How long before they hit baseball and soccer and basketball? Don't take away the fun from the kids. But getting back to this, this is why I say, you have to look back at the past. Pick up something that you haven't seen before in the past that you may have not seen through your life. Pick up a movie that, that like you would say, well, I don't know about that. Pick it up, watch it. This is why channels like metv, Antenna TV, Grit, I can go down the list of all the nostalgic channels that are available, and more on the way. There are more nostalgic channels being built right now. Why? Because that is what people are watching. You go to network television, it's crap right now. You don't have people like Richard Donner making programming like they used to. You look at Donner's career. How much great programming has he created through his entire career? How many great films that he directed through his career? How many has he produced? He was on the production on Lost Boys, Free Willy, a couple of other movies that he did through the years. And you look back at the people who worked on these series and movies, and you ask about Richard Donner, and they said it's such a great man to work with. There are not that many directors out there. People have issues with their directors and their producers and stuff like that. But when you hear some of the people that have worked with them, and you look at some of the documentaries and stuff like that, and you can see a man like Richard Donner, who basically has given us so much joy, so much art in our lives. And people say, "Oh, he's such a fantastic man. He's a great director. He knew how to treat everybody when he needs to. He knew when to be, he knew when to be strong on the cast, and he knew when to have fun. That was the important things on there. I've met some of these actors. I met Christopher Reeve. Oh God, in the '80s, right before his accident, and I had mentioned to him. I said, how was it working on that set in Superman? He said, he said that he loved doing it. He loved the role. He loved working with the people on there. The director was great. This is the thing, is that when you have your cast, you can sit there and say, I enjoyed making this movie. It was great. Please watch it. Come see it on there. And you see decades later, people are still talking about that original film. And it is. And the thing about it is, and this is why I chose the TV portion of this, is people are not talking about the TV portions of it. And when you look at these things, I mean, this is before, all these series are before the internet. And before they made major documentaries on a lot of this stuff. I mean, you look at Perry Mason. You can watch Perry Mason on metv right now on late night. I think about 11, 12 o'clock Eastern on there. And there's and you can see some great TV. I mean, those were some great shows. Same thing with the Rifleman. I just got back into the Rifleman recently because they've been showing it also in the early afternoons. When I take my lunch break, I try to catch an episode or two on there because they're not long episodes. It's very well done on there. Wanted Dead or Alive. I mean, Steve McQueen. How can you go wrong with Steve McQueen in a TV series? You know, most people say, well, you know, they had that Rutger Hauer remake, and it wasn't really a remake. They only mentioned him in the background. I mean, he also worked on an anthology series called The Loretta Young Show. He worked on 5 episodes of that. The DuPont Show, he did an episode of that, and the Zane Grey Theater. I mean, his credits go back to the beginning of the '60s. And when you see all his credits, and you see how many people enjoy his stuff, you have to ask yourself, why don't we have more of those today? Why don't we have great product like this today? And I'll tell you honestly, the ideology. There was no ideology on a lot of this programming back then. You know, you had to skirt on some of the programming. You had to skirt the, you had the censor boards and stuff like that. Especially, what type of show. Especially the cop shows and stuff like that. That there's so much you could do. I was just watching Police Woman with Angie Dickinson. I mean, if you've never seen that, it's on Tubi TV right now, and that's a great cop show. Angie Dickinson in the lead as a cop, what she goes through, the emotions and stuff like that. I mean, the first episode alone is very good. I mean, that'll get you hooked. But finally, we to take to the point, this great director, great man, great producer. We say rest in peace, Richard Donner, and we hope that someone will come across one day that will be just like him. That's going to be hard. You don't get too many great directors and producers like him, and he will be sadly missed, especially by me. I mean, I loved all his stuff. When you make stuff that you could tout back, pretty much everything that he's done, and even more. You have to say to yourself, hey, he was a person that made good content, and his artwork was fantastic, especially Superman. If you have not seen the '78 version of Superman, go out and get it now. Please do. Go watch the first 2 movies and come back and tell me how you felt about that. That it made you feel that, it made you feel good. Because I felt good walking out of that theater as a kid. Especially those are the years of Jaws and Star Wars and Alien. You had some, a lot of great films in that time period. As far as science fiction and action and all that, you had so much of it. And when you look toward, the years after that, when you get to the Lethal Weapon and Goonies, and Scrooged. Oh, what a wonderful take on that. The Toy with Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason. Not too great of a film, but it was fun. It was on there. And then The Omen. I mean, The Omen, there's a story from The Omen that ending scene where, spoilers, and you see this in the trailer where Damien turns around and he has that, goes into that smile. There's a story on how Donner got him to smile. And I think he was making fart jokes. It was to the point where he made fart jokes. You know how little kids, this little smirk kids get, when you talk about fart jokes and stuff like that, that, and you look at it and you're like, oh my God, that's evil. Oof. it just gives you chills when you look at that smile. Oh, you know, like I said, will be sadly missed. Rest in peace, Richard Donner. So let's move on and let's see what's on my video shelf, which happens to be a Richard Donner classic as well. Off my video shelf this week, well, it was with the passing of Richard Donner, it would be appropriate. This is something that's been on my shelf for quite some time now. It is the 1985 fantasy adventure Lady Hawk, starring Matthew Broderick, Rutger Hauer, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Such a great fantasy film, not too often talked about. Basically, it is about a thief who befriends a captain who has a strange secret, and his lover, Lady Isabeau, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who they were cursed by a bishop who desires Michelle Pfeiffer, and his magic prevents them from ever being together, as one is basically a bird by day and the other one is a wolf by night. I mean, this is a fantastic film. It was nominated, I think, for Best Sound, I believe it was, and several other nominations on there. It's well done. It's well acted. I mean, some people call it like a little cheesy. I mean, Matthew Broderick is fantastic as the thief. He's called the Mouse. He does it to perfection on there. I mean, there is a great cast. Even Alfred Molina is in it. Leo McKern. You know, this is something that Richard Donner had done, and it was filmed in Italy, in beautiful sections of Italy on there. You know, some of the old places of Italy that people these days are visiting because of movies like this. See, that's the great thing. See, when you have great movies and they're made on location on that, people tend to visit those places if they're real big fans, and they'll go visit. I mean, hell, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, people do visit those places. They visit where the location shots on that. There's a YouTuber out there that spends his time going around to places where they film movies and TV series, to if the place still exists. Like, I know he's been to the mall in the Dawn of the Dead series, and I know he went to the theater where the original Steve McQueen Blob was shot. In fact, it's still there. It's basically, it's an icon there. They have festivals in there. They have festivals there, and they have festivals in that mall where Dawn of the Dead was shot. But all in all, this shows the artwork that basically Richard Donner has done to this. I mean, it is a fantastic, like I said, it's a fantastic movie. When I say the art, movies are artworks. This is something that doesn't have any politics in it. There's nothing behind it. There's no, all this, race swapping and stuff like that. These are stories that has nothing to do with anything itself, of an adventure, a medieval dark fantasy. That's what, people want those things. They want them back. Quentin Tarantino said, they've become ideologists in Hollywood and not artists. That's the problem these days. So, Lady Hawk, you can get this. It's still available out there. In fact, Amazon and many other places have them. You can get it for under $20. The original VHS is under $10. DVD is under $20 also on there. I recommend get the Blu-ray on there. It is a very good Blu-ray version of it. Not perfect, but it's pretty good for the way it holds on your screen. So that is what's on my video shelf this week. Well, we've reached one of the most important parts of the show. You, my viewers, what do you have to say this week? Your comments, your mentions, how you're feeling out there. So let's start off with N1 Cowboy Bebop Fan 1985. I doubt Funimations will remove grain since Macross and most people have Blu-rays in Japan. Cowboy Bebop Fan, you know, the thing about it is with Funimations, and all you got to do is go back and look at the last couple of box sets they released. And this is why I have major doubts on how they're going to put out a good Robotech box set, is what they've done to Dragon Ball Z. I mean, they've changed color, they've changed ratio, they've changed so much. I mean, these things are just horrible. They're just horrible. I mean, there's one set out there, it's a yellow box set that, you know, it's hard to find, very expensive. If you can find it, that's the best one. I miss a lot of the older box sets that used to come out. I mean, some of them didn't have that great of a dub, or it had ocean dubs. You know, the ocean dubs, I did enjoy the ocean dubs, but at least they were enjoyable. I mean, if you look right now online on Amazon and a couple of other sites, you can find Robotech on there. Those are decent, and I've seen a couple of decent masters from the major companies that are holding the copyrights to Robotech in the United States, and they're okay. But what Funimations will do, they'll probably butcher it, and they're known for this. Thank you again, Cowboy Bebop Fan. Andrew Choi, this is concerning the Pepe Le Pew. He'll be back soon. I hope so. 'Cause I'll tell you something. Warner Brothers, you know, what they're doing is just massively insane. If you haven't caught the video this week, there's a video out. I talk about Courage the Cowardly Dog. That basically they left out the creator and the staff, most of the staff except the voice actors, from all productions of that Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog production. I mean, the main creator says, I have nothing to do with this product. I mean, this is the butcher, and like I said from the forum, this is the butchering that they're doing, the censorship, the bending the knee. You know, these are iconic characters for years. No one has ever had any problems until the last 10 years. And this is all this activists and, you know, these people that have gone to college for social media and for, you know, all this bullshit that they're teaching in college. And this is why I always say now on, fuck college, go to trade school. Just go to trade school. You know, parents out there, you know, if you're watching, send your kids to trade school. Let them learn something with their hands, you know, instead of getting, you know, basically indoctrinated into cults. Well, that's what's happening in college. Thank you again, Andrew Choi. David, if I started, I butcher your name. Also, mangas have an ending while comics just get another writer. Davon, you hit it, slammed right on the button on that one. Yes, you are absolutely 100% right on that. I mean, yeah, you know, the thing about it is, and you look at it and you hear the excuses. You just heard the excuse from the Masters of the Universe production staff that, no, we had to change the characters because no one will accept new characters. Bullshit! Come on! Really? Really? Stories continue on. You learn to find new characters. This is why manga does very well. Manga can go, I mean, look at some of the best stories in manga and in anime. Dragon Ball, Bleach, One Piece. What do they have all in common? Their stories continue and add new characters. They're constantly adding new heroes, new villains, you know, new storylines. You know, some of them are accepted, some of them are not. It happens. That's the way to make stories. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to dump this writer, get another writer, just change everything all around, continue the story. Why is Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball, when I started watching Dragon Ball, he was a little kid. Now he is an adult, and he has his own children. We've watched him grow. Same thing with One Piece. One Piece, we've seen his story arc progress and grow. Bleach, the same thing. They have untold episodes. I mean, shit, One Piece. How many episodes? Over 1,000 now? When will they ever learn? Davion, thank you very much for commenting. Now, here's a couple of them from Chris Dolan. We'll take them one at a time here. Toei and another Japanese company need to take the animes out of Funimations and give them to another streaming platform of another company's. And Cowboy Bebop fan also says money talks on top of that. Yes, you're right on that one, Chris. They need to pull them and give them to somebody else. There are plenty of others in the business that will take on these shows, these movies. I mean, I just saw, what was it? The Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway on Netflix. That was fantastic. That was really, really good on there. And then, of course, there were others, like a couple of others that were on there I didn't like. It depends on how it's handled. And the thing about it is, the way Funimation has been handling these things has been politically driven. You have activists. You begin to wonder, why was Vic Mignogna pushed out of this company? Vic Mignogna, was the one who basically put voice actors on the maps. In other words, people won't go to conventions. They didn't give a shit about the voice actors. It was Vic Mignogna who basically put them on the map. And what did they do? Stab him in the back for it. Continuing with Chris Nolan's comments on there, they should just cancel Indy 5 altogether. That's on the Harrison Ford injury. Yes, I agree with that. He also says there's also an independent movie studios out there, which is basically Disney renaming Boba Fett's ship because it's offensive. I'm not certain what he means by out there. But yes, there are plenty of independent movie studios out there. They're growing. Some of them are here on YouTube. That's correct. Some of them are here on YouTube, and they're growing as well. The Cuticast TV is an independent also. We're growing. Not as fast as I would like, but we're growing. And then the last thing on Chris, Disney might sell their company itself one day. It could one day. Not until they butcher it, until it's buried into the ground. And put it this way, Chris, look what they've done with the Muppets. Nobody wants the Muppets. Not even the Henson family. It goes to show how badly butchered they're doing all these IPs. Star Wars, Marvel, it doesn't matter. They just ruining all this stuff. This is why the Predator lawsuit is going on. There's a major lawsuit going on to get the property back to the original creators of Predator. They're trying to stop this next movie from being made. Thank you, Chris, for all your comments, and please continue to watch. And thank you once again, N1 Cowboy Bebop fan 1985, for commenting again. The Hillbilly Gamer. I mean, it looks good. I mean, it looks really nice, but it didn't look cheap at all. That's an old story we did about the Vagrant Queen. Yeah, it was okay, Hillbilly Gamer. It was all right, but you have to understand. There's an old saying, you can't shine shit. This came from a comic book that really nobody really liked. There was very few people that liked the comic book. Yes, Sci-Fi took the chance on it, but they really tried to push the envelope with this series. And, when you get moved from primetime to late night within a couple of weeks of releasing several episodes, that should tell you alone that they couldn't get engagement on the particular show. Thank you again, Hillbilly Gamer. And finally, Saya INJ. Thank you again. You know, another good watcher out there. I am not a guy who likes showing, but I could see why it's popular. IMO, it looks like DS and it's about to explode like a bomb. And B-Stars, oh boy, I'm a fan of it. Yeah, you know, this is the stories out there. You know, B-Stars is, you mentioned B-Stars. B-Stars is coming out just in, I think, a few weeks now. And first season was fantastic. It was very well animated, very well done. The story was great, and it's very engaging as far as the storyline itself. And as far as Demon Slayer, you know, there's a big announcement coming up on it very soon on the second season. I guess there's going to be a trailer, an official final trailer, not a teaser trailer, but a full trailer coming out for the new arc. The movie will be here very soon on demand services and also Blu-ray and DVD, which it's doing phenomenal numbers over in Japan, and we already know the mangas are selling out in the U.S. The first 2 volumes is sold out pretty much almost everywhere now. If you could find it, you're going to be paying at least double the price right now what it costs. The last volumes of the series is also out of stock, and the entire box set is out of stock. If you can find it, it's going to be well over $300 right now, currently. This shows Hollywood and the comic book industry that this is what the people want. They don't want your politics in their storyline. And you know, and the messed up thing about it is, the comic book industry is trying to hide the situation and say, hey, we're doing good, we're okay, look at our numbers. And those aren't your numbers. Those are the manga numbers. The manga numbers are put in there. I wish they would separate them, because right there and then would truly show you what the major differences are. Remember, on certain sites that basically monitor this, to get on that site, you need over 10,000 in sale, 10,000 book sales, not dollars, but you have to sell 10,000 copies. You know, if you haven't sold 10,000 copies of a volume, you know, you won't make it on that list. Thank you again, Saya ENJ, and thank you for all those who have commented this week. Don't forget, you can comment here and all of our various social media accounts over at Odyssey, at BitChute. You can subscribe here, there, everywhere where we're located on all 3 of those social media sites. Don't forget to hit that like, and you know, don't forget to share these videos with friends of yours. You know, I've said this before, and I keep saying this, you know, especially with the lawsuits that are now coming across, we're still shadow banned. There's still people just slowly finding Saturday Pre-Flight here on Cuticast TV. We're doing very well on BitChute. A lot of people have been finding us. You know, some of them are not commenting yet, but basically they are finding our programming. Goes to show you, when you have a show and you have it on 2 separate media accounts, and one media account is exploding and the other one is just stalled, you have to question yourself, what's going on this site? So we've reached the end of the video, but before we go, we need to check in and see what's going on over at metv, and what's the movie this week Svengoolie will be showing.
This week on Svengoolie,
my mother and father are going away.
What could possibly go wrong? Joan Crawford stars in
I Saw What You Did.
on the next Svengoolie.
What could be wrong?
Saturday night on metv.
That's right, the 1965 I Saw What You Did, starring the great Joan Crawford, John Ireland, Sarah Lane, Leif Erikson, Andy Garrett. This is a William Castle Productions. If you're not familiar with William Castle, he is a great director. He has given us some of the craziest films you could think of, including Straight Jacket, 13 Ghosts, The Tingler, House on Haunted Hill, Nightwalker, I mean, he has done a lot of films, and they always have some sort of gimmick behind them, always. Main premise on this, it's about two girls who are bored at home and decide calling up, pranking people, telling them on the other line, I know what you did, and I saw it, and I know who you are, until they call on somebody that actually did something and comes after them. So that is the movie this week. I Saw What You Did on Svengoolie on metv Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on your local metv. If you don't have metv, do check in at metv.com. Find out where in the world you can get Svengoolie. Mostly you can get it free over the air. If you have problems trying to get it, there have been some frequency changes. Check with a YouTuber named Antenna Man, who goes into a detailed explanation of what's going on and what you can do to get your programming back. So, once again, we have to rest in peace, Richard Donner. Fantastic director of both television and movies. He will be missed, because his type of films only comes once around, really truly once around, and he's the only man you could say that he made you believe a man could fly. Truly. Next week we will be bringing the final part of the 3-part series we were doing on independent television, the P10 Prime Time Television Network. We'll be talking about next week. We do apologize for not bringing it this week, but like I said, this was, I think, was very important that we discuss at this point now, as it's still fresh in everybody's minds. So once again, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, share. We are here 10 p.m. Eastern every Friday on BitChute, ODYSEE, and on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you. Bye-bye now.
你别笑，要做要赚。